But let's go to Shawn on line 2. How you doing, Shawn?
Hey, Pete. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very interesting listening to Mr. Vardy. I actually called in about the concert on the weekend, but I guess there's some segues in there.
Yeah.
If we thought Mr. Quinton's risk was high, Muskrat Falls is in the stratosphere.
Okay. I'll take that connection.
Well, you know, when you think about it now, first thing came to my mind, I spent some time around the courts as a journalist in my previous life, and the first thing came to my mind was the contract with Emera. If anything happened that we suddenly could not deliver power to Nova Scotia. And that could cause unbelievable damage to us, in financial damage and compensation damage and God only knows what. Would we have to buy power from somewhere else and still supply it to Emera? I don't know what's in the contract. But since we're on the subject of power, when we go to put our excess power on the spot market, Pete, there's no intrinsic value in power. When I go to switch on my light, all I want is the cheapest amount of power. I might care about the whole green thing coming out of Labrador and how green it is, but the bottom line is, as long as my lights come on, what is the cheapest price? And there's so much power available going into the U.S., you know, from various sources that are long in the tooth in terms of they're developed for decades. Yeah. And we have a brand new car on the market, so to speak, and we're still paying our lease and high insurance costs compared to all those that are already paid off, so to speak.
Yeah, Shawn, I've got an article here. Somebody sent me a link. I don't know where I got it. But anyway, it's from The Guardian, and I can't see a date on it. But anyway, it's saying that Denmark's electricity right now, or its wind power, generates 140% of what they need themselves. So they're actually selling excess wind energy to Germany, Norway, and a fifth of it goes to Sweden. So they've found a way through wind energy alone to produce more than they require on an annual basis.
And you know, you're absolutely right, and this is happening all over the world. The technology is all around us, and you know, there's only so long that the Power Act was set up, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 years ago, is going to be on the books, because we just can't have a monopoly controlling all the possible power offerings in the future. There's just too much out there, and people are...
But that's what we've done. We've locked in for 50 years. We said that nobody else can generate it. We've got to pay this bill. Well,
it's disgusting, and, you know, when you think about like I can go off myself and have my own type of power if I want. I can put solar panels, as you quite rightly said, and David said a minute ago. I can have wind energy. I can put in better insulation. There's a whole bunch of things coming that's going to be very inexpensive for us to do because it's, you know, the uptake is very fast now.
But Shawn, you know what's going to happen eventually? If enough people do that and leave too few to cover the bill that must be paid, they're just going to bring in legislation saying you can't do that. Now, even if you install efficient energy supply from various sources, or that cuts down your usage, you're still going to have to pay because everybody's going to have to shoulder the burden.
I don't see it. I'll beg to differ on that. Like, to tell me what kind of coffee I should buy.
Exactly. But whether it's in direct charges through Newfoundland Power or if it's income tax, it has to be paid. The government needs that money in to pay the bill.
Well, you can only squeeze a turnip so hard, and with our demographics, and you quite rightly spoke on sort of David about our population, you know.
Yeah. You can squeeze a lot of turnips a little bit easier. You can squeeze a few a lot.
Yeah. But look, if I just move on, because there's so many problems to come off of that, and I don't see people being able to afford it. If their electricity bills continue going up, most people who are in the demographic coming up are not on. They're on fixed incomes, not indexed. Yeah. They will not be able to afford it, and if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Yeah. I just don't see where it's going, but it's a very serious issue, and I think the only answer to it is huge immigration to help shoulder the costs, as you mentioned.
If we can even achieve that. I mean, we can go out of our way to do everything possible and still not come up with the number we need in terms of immigration. Anyway, it's an interesting future. We're going to see how it all plays out.
Well, we do have a lot to offer, Pete. I just want to just finish the subject on that matter. Mm-hmm. We have a lot to offer. We have great clean air. We have good clean water. We have all kinds of access to fresh foods close to, like on our coastline. there's a lot of possibilities here, and all you have to do is go to a farmer's market and see how the food clears out so quickly that we can certainly use a lot of people coming in here who would like to go farming, especially today when there's a very good living.
Well, listen, I don't want to live anywhere else. This is where I am and where I want to stay. But I sure hope that the electricity rate doesn't become a part of my, my equation when it comes to determining whether I can. And I don't want the Manola cell to be and that type of thing to be a factor either. And there's a lot of things we got to be careful of and protect what we have.
We need to set up priorities, and we have to stick to them.
Yeah.
So back to the concert for a minute. Very, very good concert. Unfortunately, I was very interested in hearing Blue Rodeo, and they didn't show up. But we were at the concert, and I think talking about clean air, that was the worst example of clean air I've ever experienced in my life. You just couldn't get away from it, no matter where you moved. There were people in front of you, behind you, smoking anything legal or illegal.
Oh, is that right?
And it was impossible. Oh, my goodness. I hope there's people listening who are in my age bracket who would like to call in and talk about it. I spent 3 terms on the board of the Lung Association, assisting in public relations and all this stuff. And I've never experienced it like that down there.
So even outdoors, it was not, you weren't able to get a clean breath of fresh air?
Not unless you went so far, afield from where you were that you really couldn't enjoy the venue. But it was really bad, and many, many people were talking about it on the way out. There was no restriction on anything, and people just did what they wanted. Now you're all clammed in like sardines,
Yeah.
And of course, you couldn't see who was smoking the weed or anything else, but the people who were smoking cigarettes and it was dangerous in a way because they were right up in your face with it. I mean, they literally pressed up against each other. And no matter where you went ahead to the washrooms, you were lined up in it there, and they were ahead of you. If you're over at the concessions, they were ahead of you or behind you, and it was just ridiculous. I think if Mr. Quinton is listening, I think you need a huge smoking section maybe and a huge non-smoking section, maybe equally divided in the field, so that at least you'll have some opportunity of having a few feet between you and all the smokers. But it was the worst example of smoking in public that I've seen in a long time.
All right, sir. I appreciate this. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, Pete. Take care.
Bye-bye.